Devon Larratt versus Denis Cyplenkov. Denis versus Jerry Cadorrette. Alex Cordecha versus Devon Larratt. Many interesting questions in this fourth part of the Q&A series, so please stay tuned till the end. The first one we have here is, can Devon Larratt beat Denis Cyplenkov now before he reaches his peak shape? I would say that the answer should be an easy yes. I do believe Devon can beat Denis Cyplenkov right now. I will have Devon as a slight, very slight favorite in October as well. Just because Devon's style now favors well against Denis Cyplenkov, unlike the 2018 left-handed supermatch, where Denis just put Devon in a hook and beat him comfortably. It is almost impossible to put Devon's right arm in a hook, especially now. So Denis will have a difficult time. Denis is almost untop rollable even now in the center. His wrist is as solid as it gets right in the center. So it's difficult. Maybe Levan and Hermes can do that. But I don't think Devon can top roll Denis in the center. But we have seen Denis' weakness over the past almost a decade, maybe even more than that. And that weakness is still there. When Denis was trying to go sideways to pin John Brzezinski, his wrist was going slightly back. If you show this weakness against Devon, he is going to capitalize on that. And especially after knowing that Denis cannot stand up and then press, he has to rely on this Todzilla style side pressure to finish his opponents. That can be a really difficult path to victory against Devon. So I will say yes, Devon can beat Denis. Seeing as your anti-cancel culture, will you do an interview with Chris Gobby? He was seemingly blacklisted by Devon, and so his previous shows with Herman and SP eventually ended. We want to hear his side of the story. Yeah, for sure I can interview him, and I would also love to hear that. Because Chris Gobby was one of the OGs of podcasts in arm wrestling. I think Hand Control Worldwide started this podcast culture in arm wrestling, and it was followed by Arm Hub by Chris Gobby, and I forgot the name of Herman Stevens was also there, and I forgot one other name. So he's one of the OGs. Then he was doing podcasts with Ryan SP as well. I watched all of them. So yes, for sure I would love to invite him. And I even remember Devon Larratt being on that Arm Hub podcast where they kind of started fighting over the topic of King's Move. To be honest, that day I absolutely hated Chris Gobby's take on the King's Move. He isn't even worried about the shoulder going below the table. If the arm goes like this, even if it looks like a King's Move, his way of speaking against the King's Move, that rubbed many people the wrong way, including me. I remember Jody was trying to come on the show and trying to calm both of them down because they almost started fighting. But now I and Paul Italia, we talked with him on the Arm Wrestling Buzz show, and he even apologized to Paul Italia for some of the mistakes he did. So I think his trolling days are over and now he's more serious. We would love to see him compete. His left was nasty. Like Chris Gobby had a very good left arm. I'd love to talk with him. So Pradeep bhai, my question is about PPL. What do you think that Pro Punjab League have any future in international arm wrestling in upcoming years? So future in what sense? We talking about the size of the league? I think Pro Punjab League is the future. That is going to be the biggest arm wrestling promotion in the world. Maybe not in super match format, but for sure in tournament format. Nobody is going to touch Pro Punjab League. So if Zloty doesn't return, I believe that, yeah, this is going to be the biggest tournament in the world. And professional tournament I'm talking about. Future athletes, I don't think Pro Punjab League is yet ready to send their athletes to the other countries to compete in international events, but they will invite international arm wrestlers to give exposure. Because a few days ago I interviewed the owner of Pro Punjab League, the Bollywood actor Praveen Dabas, and he told me that he knows, it is a fact, he knows that Indian athletes are not yet ready for that international competition. So what he will do is that he will invite the international athletes over here so that they can compete, and maybe they will teach something to the Indian arm wrestlers so that the level rises and competition rises the level. So Indian arm wrestling, Indians are absolutely crazy about arm wrestling right now. It is getting the craziest boom that we have ever seen in the world of arm wrestling. J.R. Williams, member of the channel. You should also become the member of the channel by clicking on join button. Why couldn't Jerry compete against another high-level opponent at East vs West 7, which is on May 6th? This seems like a missed opportunity. I was also thinking about that same thing. What do you think a good opponent that is available would be? That is available, man. I thought I will answer it with Denis Cyplenkov because Denis is also not competing. I don't know why. Maybe Babkan, his manager, he's really selective about the opponents. Devon said that Denis will not take a match unless he knows that he's going to win it. So he's not taking any matches between the John Brzezinski February 25th match and Devon Larratt October 21st match at East versus West 9. So that is a long period between these two matches. I think Denis could have and he should have taken one match. That the match between these two matches would have been like Jerry Cadorrette match or Dave Chaffee. Dave is competing against Revaz, but Jerry match at East versus West 7 would have been awesome. So who is available? Who isn't competing? Hermes isn't available. Alex Cordecha. Yeah. Alex Cordecha versus Denis Cyplenkov at East versus West 7. That should have been the match in my opinion. So how many Q&A do you plan to do? Seems like it will be a series for quite long. As long as you guys are interested in watching it. And for now, I think you guys are. Maybe I'll reduce the frequency to once only 2 weeks. So that will be something that I'll need to take care of. And I'm Prostkun, another member of the channel. So thanks for the question. I think, yeah, for now I'm thinking about doing it, maybe reducing the frequency. How you make live commentary? Would you make live commentary on Russian Nationals or AMC tournament if they are free to view? I'm not a big fan of live commentating on events that are free to watch. At first I was completely against it. But then I got many comments, countless comments that we still want to see your free commentary, your live commentary, even on a free event. And I think that can provide good data. I'm just right now thinking about it. So let's say if Monster Factory is a free to watch event and I'm doing a live commentary and everybody knows that the event is going to be live on Monster Michael Todd's channel. And still, let's say if 300 people are watching my live or 400 people are watching my live. Then that would make some sense. That would clear many things up that people just like to support. Alright, next question. What are your favorite and least favorite arm wrestlers? Man, that's a difficult question, especially the least favorite. So favorite, Hermes Gasparini is my favorite arm wrestler. Denis Cyplenkov is also used to be, and he's once again becoming one of my favorite arm wrestlers. And you guys tell me in the comments, are you also seeing the same effect? YouTube algorithm is getting flooded by Denis Cyplenkov motivational shorts. Come back, come back, come back. And I'm in really great love with those shorts. I even upload some of the shorts on my WhatsApp number status. So that's interesting. And Prudnik also used to be my favorite arm wrestler, but I'm kind of rethinking that phase because he became my favorite arm wrestler after he literally played with Rustam Babayev in 2018 and after he beat Ongarbayev with that beautiful hook. But those were the only two instances, and right now Prudnik is not my favorite. Toddzilla, if we talk about other sense, the way, the professionalism that guy breathes, I just only have to respect that. There is no other thing. Like, I absolutely love the professionalism that he talks about, his analogies, his perfection in everything. Like, he talks in numbers, he talks in proofs, and I also like to talk that way. So I need to think about it. Why isn't Toddzilla my favorite arm wrestler? Why isn't he? Hermes, maybe you are only safe for a little time. Enjoy while you are there, my friend. All right. Least favorite. I would say least favorite is a difficult question. I'd like to answer it in a political question. Least favorite. Somebody who makes excuses, or somebody who can arm wrestle but chooses not to. Who is that person? RVJ. He can arm wrestle, he's good at it, but he doesn't arm wrestle. And especially now when he has started to arm wrestle once again, he's taking himself seriously. You can just watch his live streams. I'm becoming a fan of him once again. Just remember his WL match against Craig Tooley, I think it was. The way he beat him, the way he was slamming the table, removing the shirt. That's perfect for TV. He is the guy made for TV. So you have a natural talent. Why aren't you using that? So I hate that stuff. So I hope RVJ also makes into this favorite arm wrestlers list soon. How many languages do you know? Are you fluent in writing, reading, and speaking those languages? So unlike most of the Indians, I only know 2 languages that I can write, read, and speak. I'm born in Haryana. Haryanvi is a different dialect. Like, not everyone understands Haryanvi language, and it is not written in any different way. So you will write it in Hindi words. So I would say only 2 languages if you consider Haryanvi a language, then maybe 3 languages. But in many parts of India, almost everyone can speak Hindi. Almost everyone who is literate knows English as well, and they have the 3rd language as well. So I'm kind of lagging behind. I only know like 2.5 languages if we consider Haryanvi half language. All right, question: if you think this sport have not much audience, then why you didn't make its pay-per-view free? Okay, so free monster factory event, and it will be more engaging when it's free and more advertisers by players. Yes, advertisers need to play a big role if you want to provide it for free. Love for the arm wrestling sport. All right, brother, good question. So I think even now, if we look at the pay-per-view model, Engin Terzi is posting the matches afterwards. So even if there is a sponsor, his videos like Old School Labs were integrated in Engin's videos. So let's say those videos got 2 million views. So those 2 million views, those 2 million people, I cannot say people because some of the people watch it twice. So let's say 1 million unique viewers, they watched that ad of Old School Labs or whatever the sponsor is going to be in the future. So I think it is kind of similar. The sponsors should still be attracted almost equally as if it was a free event to watch, because in the end the views are almost going to be same. So I would say for now pay-per-view seems to be the way, but in the future, yeah, definitely different things. Like Hafthor versus Eddie Hall, the boxing match 2022 I think it was. So that year it was a big match. Core Sports sold the match, the rights to broadcast the match, to Segi TV, and Segi TV didn't pay them nothing. But Core Sports sued them for $2.5 million and they won the case. So they sold that for $2.5 million. That's how big that match was. So if Eddie versus Thor is worth $2.5 million, I think a big East versus West pay-per-view where we have about 15 good matches, that should be about at least 1/10 of that much money. So $250,000. So I think that can easily give us a number. Maybe Engin should ask Don Idris how many people watched the Hafthor versus, or maybe Segi TV has that number. Maybe Don Idris doesn't. But if Don has the number, how many people watched Hafthor versus Eddie Hall fight, and if it isn't 10 times more than the East versus West event, then I think it's a good model. Like Engin can also sell the entire rights of the stream in about $250,000, and that would be a good deal. He can still sell the posters, table covers, t-shirts, signed cards, and probably make 300,000 easy. There would be nothing better for me to make me happy than Engin making $100,000 of one event, and he'll pay the athletes more in the future. So that's interesting. How do you think Devon versus Alex right-handed match will go? Give your thoughts on the match if it is best of 5, best of 6 super match. So Devon speaks really highly of Alex Cadorrette after he practiced with him in Canada, in his home. That was about, I would say, less than 2 months after Devon's bicep tear. So Devon wasn't 100% for sure. So if that match is left-handed, I think Alex destroys Devon 6-0, 7-0, 10-0, whatever you want to call it, 15-0 maybe, as they were in the practice pool, and then Devon put the brakes on. But that is while without resting. So no rest, he still pinned Devon like 15 times. So if there is rest between the rounds, I think he will pin him even more times. And I would say that Devon has not improved more than Alex in that time, at least on the left arm. On the right arm, judging from what Devon was saying about Alex, I think Alex still pins Devon. Maybe he pins him 2 times, but he will lack side pressure at some point of time. He will lack the finishing power, the press to beat Devon's King's move. I would go with 4-2 or 3-2 Devon Larratt in that match. But I think it's a good looking, it's a close match. It's a close match. That's what I think. Thanks for watching. Like the video. Join as a member if you want. Subscribe please. And I'll see you again.